not going to sing Bohemian Rhapsody. So yeah, my name's Marley, I'm from Northampton, and I buy tea bags without plastic, even though it's more expensive. And it's kind of fucking tragic that it doesn't make a difference. I buy products free of cruelty because I can't believe the horror, and I know the package for me because it's wrapped in fucking plastic, and it's tragic, and it's tragic, and it's really fucking tragic. I drive a van for work and I can't buy electric, and when I fill it up it's hard to just forget it, and I wake up every morning feeling shameful that I can't do more to make an ounce of difference. I've gone vegan, it wasn't easy. I miss the seafood, I miss the cheeses, I miss the time I lose by staring at the tiny little writing on the plastic fucking packaging that's wrapped around the products, around the peppers, around bananas, around the world. I've seen death up close, starvation and corruption. I've seen gluttony, extravagance to boot. I've seen parents cry while children die, diseases rife and ecocide, while champagne served in London towers 30 stories high is deliberately spilled on finest suits. I've cleaned the glass that's on the ceiling right above me. Despite the promises, I've never broken through. They fooled me far more times than twice, so I don't know about perspective, but I'll be throwing stones forever. So will you. And no one fucking told me there's a crisis. But ignorance is bliss, or so I'm told. And so I've given up my future and my freedoms and my dreams because I'd like to see my nephew growing up. And no one fucking told me there's a crisis. But equally, they didn't know my worth. Because with every bit of strength, I'm going to fight this. So I'll rebel to save our future and our earth. Thank you. So yeah, I do a bit of climate activism. I am one of those people who will block your car, and I'm not sorry about it because the world's dying and we need to fucking do it. But I do hope to get to work and manage to make enough money to keep yourselves alive in the same breath. I wrote this piece last week, so I'm actually going to read it, which is really unlike me. I always try to learn them and try and, because I love to listen to your beautiful eyes and connect with you all on an individual basis. But I wrote this piece and I kind of wanted to share it, so I'm just going to read it. Michael had a special mind, the envy of his peers. He'd not forget a single thought or interaction, item bought, a story told or sight he'd sought for any of his years. Michael could enrich a conversation with an anecdote or musing to the letter. With science and philosophy or vibrant anthropology, he'd soon have rooms on edge of sea. His effort felt the weightlessness of feather. But Michael had a mind that could wander, and Michael's mind would yearn to feel afresh. For all the good things Michael could remember, his mind would bring up pain and hurt and death. The time he said that thing that wasn't welcomed, the time he couldn't think outside the box, the time he couldn't figure out the words he said weren't helpful, and the time that they were definitely not. The time they thought his tone was condescending, the time they thought his attitude was dull, the time they called him creepy for recalling all the details on the list he wasn't meant to see at all. Michael spent his teenage years a subject of fascination, medical amuse. The problem is that once a person witnesses a miracle, their mind looks out for reasons to disprove. Soon Michael's friends were mostly always older, the teacher and the doctor and the shrink. His dreams became a cage within a prison in a realm that only others felt the freedom in to think. The pills the doc prescribed were far from helpful. They didn't scratch the itch in Michael's head. It's hard to fix a mind that isn't broken. You can't kickstart a brain that isn't dead. But Michael found a peace within the forest, the only place he'd everything to seek. The things no other human had the patience to experience were things that Michael found to be unique. And soon Michael built a life among the redwoods, and nature took him in its warm embrace. And everything that Michael ever said would be of no concern to aphid, bird, or snake. So Bezos is an astronaut, and I am a fucking waste man. But I'd rather live a fallacy than ride one into space, man. Quite ironic that a cock could ever find one even larger, like a Russian doll of fucking up the world a little harder. See, it's you and me that fund this phallic mission to the nothingness, while rocket fuel will kill us all, will break our own backs nonetheless. To suffer less, we must impress the new extraterrestrial. Forget about the suffragettes, it's dog eat dog to have it all. I'm talking power to the people when your voice is labelled riot. See, I'm like E.T., I'll come in peace, but I ain't never coming quietly. Spinning record after record, promise broken, targets fail again. So excuse me if your policies might seem a little alien. And I believe in UFOs because it's you that's funding oligarchs. The United Front's outstanding and we're a greater sum than all our parts. They say we're under foreign occupation just to make us fight our friends, but ultimately feel oppressed until we find ourselves again. The time is running out, my friends. We haven't got a light yet. That's a measurement of distance, Marley. Well, we haven't got that either. As elites encroach upon our space and inch by inch control it, in a galaxy not far away, ignore the fucking comet. I've seen kids who've died of cholera. Evolutionary arson funding robot journeys into space to find water for the Martians. Quite depressing that the Amazon, the lungs of every species, finds itself at tipping point and suffocated by prostheses. But forget that and commodify. There's still a lot of shit to buy. Ignore the coma in the sky, just don't look up or else you'll die, and when it closes in you'll sigh, it's not my fault. I really tried. And you'll be right. But those other guys, the cock rockets, the rose-tinted eyes, will run and hide and fight it out, and sit in bunkers blackened out, and write in chambers, and then you'll shout, well, what the fuck was that about? Thank you. So I do a lot of poetry about how I'm unhappy with the world. I do the occasional funny piece. But yeah, I tried to do a bit of a variety. This next piece is about my dad being a massive wanker. So I was quite, exactly. I thought, let's bookend this show. So one day I opened the Northampton Chronicle and Echo. That's like the big paper in Northampton, big weeks. And oh, brilliant, yeah. There we go. So I opened the paper, and centrefold was a picture of my dad. I hadn't seen him in 15 years. He'd broken into someone's house with a balaclava on and plastic bags on his feet, wielded a kitchen knife. No idea what he was up to. And he said that he had experienced a fugue state, so he didn't know what had happened. So I wrote a poem about it. It's called Cider. You put the fear in ethereal living. I'm struck twice from the side by the feelings I'm given, because I'll pine, wine and dine, walk the line. I'm in prison, but Folsom can't break me. Johnny's cash is temporary, but eventually I'll be put in life where it isn't. See, I'll upset the apple cart like swerving's a talent. I'll fall far from the tree like throwing shade as a challenge. Crush, grind, press it, fermentation's the best bit, because I'll be selling cider like it's 10 grand a gallon. And this ain't a story about arrogance, power bent on reverence. I never want you bowing to my eminence. The evidence was clear from when I fell to rock bottom, pips falling from my pockets, stopped dropping and trodden. But you see, a seed doesn't need sunlight to sprout. So while I'm down there in the pits of despair, I found the time for me to figure it out. You put the male in malevolence, pale and irreverent, forever and ever when forever wasn't ever meant. I'm talking A, B, C, all the way to L and back again and fell again. If life's a journey, I can't see the relevance. And I'm not done with you yet. You've still got answers to give. I've suffered hard, obliviously you're corroborative, and it's easy to live when you're creeping in the shadows like a snake on a hot day, but I'll be getting rattled when you're claiming a fugue state. Your face is looking weather when I open the papers. Brace yourself, pacemakers fake a replacement. Takes 8 months just to make and break an engagement. Make it a statement, sip a Saxby for the sake of curtailment. You put the other into motherland. At least I know there's something to discover. And you put the harm in pharmacy. Plant a seed, a bitter pill to swallow when it doesn't grow a money tree. 15 years denied your son or your daughters. No loss to either, now you put the laughter in slaughter. And I'm caught in the porch there, polyethylene footsteps where there ought to be laughter. Because that's the kind of father I'm after. Thank you. Until he stops me. I just keep going. That's what we agreed. We agreed that I'll carry on until someone physically drags me and ejects me from the building. During lockdown, everyone loves talking about lockdown. Every time you go to a poetry night, people are talking about lockdown. During lockdown, I set a 14-poem challenge to lots of poets. And I said, 14 days, write a poem, could be anything, a limerick, something, something, something. Let's get the creative juices going. And I read this piece, it's called Wilderness. I think it was like day 3 or something. So every day, you only have 1 day to write the whole thing. And when the virus came, you'd have been much safer with me. Man, I dare you to say I wasn't prepared for the days that were seen, the months of isolation. You know I'm not afraid of the streets. I've been forever in training for compassionate leads. I've got a mind full of useful, useless tidbits. I take pride in that more than I care to admit. I'm not shy to be truthful with more than a spoonful of trials that will prove that I'm prepared for this shit. I'm not saying you're naive or that you need a man to guide you, but memories tease. I saw a weaker man beside you, and I wonder if he'll squeeze you when you're rolling in the night, and in your mind's a fight between the light and darkness that you've been to. Does he even know the perfect place to tickle your back? Or imagine if he doesn't know the way you react. And I'm scared he hasn't figured out the touch of your waist that says, I'll never let you go, I'll go emotion for days. And I hope that he says the words that we overplayed, and when you laugh, I hope he knows when it's sincere or charade, for the mistakes that he made or the ways he betrayed you. And I've said it before, I know it's well overplayed, but he can't keep you safe here in the wilderness. He wishes he could save you in the wilderness. But life is not a game here in the wilderness, and he's a fucking player in the wilderness. I'll make fire rubbing sticks and use the friction between us. Each time I'm conflicting mad fiction between us. I'll regret that I'm the one who let the bricks come between us, but I'm fixed to say my memory clicks more than he does. I'm transfixed and ordinary, but I'm foraging colours. I'm heavy laden with a made in heaven knowledge of others. Have you met a guy who put his life on hold for his brothers? I'm off the track forever, living beg, borrow and covet. And I'll die without a penny, man, and covered in dust. But the corners of my mouth will curve, and I'll remember us. He'll swerve responsibility, and you'll get less than the best. Your best believe his interests are best left to impress the undressed, because he can't keep you safe here in the wilderness. He wishes he could save you in the wilderness. But life is not a game here in the wilderness, and he's a fucking player in the wilderness. Thank you.
Yeah.
This is another one I'm going to read. I do a little writing group with a few fellas in Northampton. I think it's really important that we get men together to talk about their emotions. So what I do is I call men together and I say, let's talk about writing poetry. They're all poets, and it's just a small group, and we give ourselves a challenge. You literally, by the end of an hour and a half or something like that, you will have written 3 poems. That might be a loose word, but hopefully you get some inspiration so you can draw something out of it for this kind of event. I have been talking that day about how I find it really annoying when you go to buy like men's products for like cleaning products like deodorants or body wash or whatever, and they all have like really fucking stupid names. Like I find it really annoying, or they look a particular way. And so I wrote this poem. It's called Metallic Semen. I don't want to smell like cool steel or metallic semen. Give me the scent of every season. I'll be breezing. I came to buy deodorant for a reason. I don't need blades and edges. Stop making bottles sharp. In fields of lilac hedges, I'm smelling like tough shark. I haven't figured out the smell of continents or concepts. Just lather me with passion flower. I'm trying to get these buns prepped. I've had my share of gift boxes that claim they know how breezes smell. So far as ice and climates go, I've had a lot of that as well. So make a call to marketing for smoke and mirror application. And no, that's not a scent idea. The boys want odor liberation.